Good morning and happy Monday. We are pouring some more testers today. I know you're like, oh, you're still testing? Yes, okay. Yes, we are still testing. Testing is still a challenge, okay? I'm getting more efficient at it. I am collecting lots of data. And you know what? If I want to try to spin this in a positive light, I'm finding out what things do not work. I talked a lot, not a lot, but I elaborated more on what was going on last week in the vlog that I shot. I think that will probably go up before this video. I typically post in the same order that I filmed, if that makes sense. So last week I did a kind of like a week in the life, or I guess it was more like 5 days. Was kind of taking you guys through each day, like a little bit of testing each day. And I talked a little bit about what I was doing, which was specifically testing double wicking in this jar. So I don't know if I'll like elaborate too much on that. Maybe I'll just like skim it, give you the Cliff Notes version of what went on with that. And then if you like want more in depth as far as like how the testers looked and temperatures and things like that, maybe I can include that in that vlog. I still have to edit it. They're back. It's the CD. I have to be honest when I say I didn't think I would be testing these again. I don't know why. I thought HTP was going to be it. Okay. It hasn't been. All things that have been going on have led us back here. I already wiped this down and labeled it earlier before I started filming, I was trying to save as much time as possible while I was doing other things. So I kind of ran in here and took care of that really quickly. I don't know why I just did that. Do that periodically. It doesn't make any sense. Okay, so we're going to put a single CD10 in this jar, and I'm also going to try to pour, actually no, I am going to pour a 12 and a 14 as well today somehow. Okay, I did a remelt repour this morning on one of the no fragrance testers that I had from last week, so I'm just waiting for that to warm up a little bit more. In the meantime, I guess I can make labels for these other two and wick them while we talk kind of briefly about last week. So last week I made a really big effort to do some double wick testing. What led me to do double wick testing was concentrate for a second. Good grief. What led me to do double wick testing was that I had tried a limited number or a limited bit of eco wicks. I didn't like the way that they burned in this wax. There was a lot of smoking. The flame was very, very active. The flame was big. And I just didn't care for it. So I moved to HTP wicks at that point because I had read that they were a really good option for this particular wax. I tried a slew. I mean, a slew. Like, there's still 6 jars over there that have HTPs in them that I did a partial burn trial on them and they failed. And those are not even all of them, obviously, because I recycle jars like almost every single day. So I did a slew of HTP testing with all different types of fragrances, heavy ones, hot ones, cool ones, and different sizes. Like at least probably 3, maybe even more sizes for like each fragrance. It was a lot. I was never able to get a full melt pool. So never able to get a full melt pool, but some of them began, like as I started going up in size, they were smoking and the flame was getting really tall and the fragrance was getting distorted a bit. So that's what actually led me to go to double wicking. In particular, I was working with a citrus fragrance, which I'm actually doing like a a little mini series with that particular fragrance. So every time I try a new wick, I'm doing like a short form content on it to show you guys. And that kind of was what made me think I should just try double wicking. So let me work while I gab CD12s. What I did first was try CD3s because I have a ton of CD wicks, like almost all the sizes. That's what I had on hand. So I tried that. Looked good at first, ended up being too hot. And then I tried LX12s because, again, it's what I had on hand and what I had double wicked with in the past, but with a different wax. Looked good at first, but quickly became too hot. I ordered LX8 and 10s. So while I was waiting for those to come in, I tested HTP, I want to say 41s. Those were too cool. They never created a full melt pool. Could never clear the waste. And then the LXs came in, and I was pretty certain that the 8s and the 10s were going to do it. They were both going to be good options, maybe for different fragrances, because I had been pretty close with the 12s. Like I liked everything about the way the 12s looked except for how hot they were. And unfortunately, by the time I got to burn 4, so it took me a good while to decide these weren't going to work. The 8s, maybe it was burn 5. The 8s never cleared the waste of the wax. It never got warm enough. And the 10s looked really good until burns 3 and 4, and then it started exceeding safe temperature. So I had to DC both those tests at that point, and now we're here. We're going back to basics a little bit here. We're going to do CD 10, 12s, and 14s today, single wick, and see how these go. I'm hopeful that they work. It's partly because I have these already, and it's partly because I haven't tried them, and it's partly because I read it can work in this jar and this wax. So hopefully out of this test, we'll get at least 1 or 2 that are viable candidates to move on to adding fragrance. I do also have a CD8, but I know I read in a couple of places that the CD8 would be appropriate. I'll test that if I need to. It's possible that this 14 will be too much, and I get that, but we'll just see. If we need to do an 8, we'll do an 8, but to be frank, I don't have another jar. I only have 3 at this moment. I have 1 downstairs that needs to be cleaned up, so maybe later, but we'll see. Anyways, how are you guys doing? Hopefully very good. Like I mentioned before, it's Monday. We had a pretty good weekend here. We had rain over the weekend, which is good. All the plants and grass are loving that. We live in a place, Utah is a little bit more of a desert type climate, and we are encouraged to not water very much. So it's nice to get a little natural moisture. Okay, this is ready to go. I'm going to pour this into my preheated jar back here. Okay, I'm not going to bother wiping this out because I'm going to add more wax to it. Let me grab a wick bar for these two. But yesterday was such a nice day. I was actually able to go on a hike with some of our friends. We actually go camping with them pretty often. We have a couple more camping trips already booked out for the next couple months, so we're all really stoked about that. But we went for a hike because our friends are hiking Half Dome, in about 2 weeks. So they wanted to go on a little training hike. So we went to a local trailhead here. There's obviously a ton, and had a great hike. It was probably, I think it was about 1,400 feet elevation gain. And we hiked for about 3 hours. Um, it was great. Great hike. Felt really good to get out. I haven't hiked. My husband and I hiked once while my mother-in-law was in town last time, which was right around like probably April. We went for a hike, which was lovely. Um, Same thing. That's like it was about a 5 mile hike. I think this one we did yesterday ended up being like 5.5 miles with much more elevation gain. So it was a good challenge, little challenge, since I haven't been out for a little while. Beautiful views. I will try to pop some pictures on the screen. Um, and weather was fantastic. So that was wonderful. And then later on in the afternoon, we just spent a lot of time outside with our son and went for a walk and got a couple things done around the house. I made an early dinner, so I didn't have a lot of work to do yesterday evening, which was really nice. And after Barrett went to sleep, um, since it's staying so light now, it stays light until probably about 9 now here. I was able to actually go out and plant my garden. So there'll probably be clips of that in the previous vlog that I referenced earlier. Um, and that was fun. It's not a big garden bed, but it'll be a fun little experiment for us. And we'll just see how it goes. But yeah, it was a lovely day yesterday. I hope you guys had a nice day too. While this melts down, I'm gonna go check on my remelt that is downstairs, and I will be right back. I definitely have been feeling a little discouraged lately with this wicking process. I knew it would be a challenge. I know I've said that before in a previous video, but I just had no idea how challenging it would be. I don't know if it's just a perfect storm with this particular jar. I have read that it can be difficult to wick this particular jar size in the past. So, wish I would have known that before I committed to it. I feel like I don't want to change it now because A, I don't want to buy any more jars. And B, I don't want to start this process all the way over. It's just very time consuming. So I'm trying to enjoy the process as much as I can and just remind myself, okay, you're learning what does not work, until it finally clicks and we find out what does work. I'm trying to be as methodical as possible with it, which is typically how I operate, anyways. But the urge to rush to the end and just have an answer is pretty strong at this point. I'm ready to, like, I'm excited to share what I'm creating with other people, but it's really, really important to me that this is a superior product. I want to be so proud of what I've learned and what I've done at the end. And I want to be able to teach my son that perseverance is a value. I want him to learn that patience and perseverance and prayer in times of challenge are really important. And I know this is a small problem, right? Like, I'm so blessed and grateful to even be in the position to do this right now. There are a lot of people out there that are probably praying to be doing something similar to what I'm doing. You know, I'm able to try to launch a small business, be at home with my son, and that is such a blessing. And I recognize that my problems are not actually problems. They're not problems, but just a word of encouragement to you if you are also in the testing phase or you're doing something else, a different craft that requires some patience and persistence and some prayer, I'm right there with you, and we just got to keep going. May or may not get the last one poured on camera because he's already been napping for an hour, and it's possible he will wake up soon. And also, my remelt re-pour is not done, so wait. Also, I'm so annoyed with myself because I jumped the gun and went ahead and ordered a double wick device from Norden last week, so it's probably going to be here soon. And now I don't know that we'll be able to double wick. So okay, here we go for the second one. 170 degrees seems to be the magic number for me right now. Okay, hello, I am back. I had to run away and go do some mom stuff, and I only have a couple of minutes to quickly pour this, so that's what we're gonna do really quick. This is the candle that I remelted, and now we're gonna re-pour. 175, so just a couple degrees, and then we'll be able to actually just pour it and get this done pretty quick. I'm going to just lickety split go ahead and grab these old wicks out of here. Give this a quick wipe. It'll be interesting to see how this one looks. Hopefully it doesn't have any sinkholes or anything, because the jar was preheated, but I had since turned off my heating mat because the other two candles I had already poured, so I didn't want to leave the mat on. So it'll be interesting to see if it turns out fine or if it makes a big difference, but we'll see. I haven't, since I started pouring using this method and this wax, I haven't had any sinkholes. So okay, we're right at 172. It's gonna be close enough. I need to get going and finish up this video because we gotta go to the grocery store, so means we gotta be done in the studio for the day. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I will probably be burning these candles tomorrow, and I will try to leave a pinned comment letting you guys know how things went, or perhaps I'll film another quick video later in the week to show you the results of the burn test. So come on back if you're interested to know how these CD wicks did. If you're not following me on Instagram, it's at Chronicle Home Co. I'd love to see you over there. Please like this video, and if you haven't subscribed, please go ahead and do that. It's free, it's no cost to you. I'd really appreciate it. Thanks for spending your time here. See you again soon.